Welcome into the Week 1 edition of the Commissioner's Corner in the League of Extraordinary Salesmen. Want to come out and again thank all of you for making it to the draft. We see how fun it is to be a part of this league. It's great to have you all together, and now we're in the full swing of football season, especially here with the 49ers coming away with a lucky win over the Seattle Seahawks, 17-13, and then subsequently looked to cut that dog shit kicker Jake Moody. Bye, he off the team. Meanwhile, the Jets actually look very solid and formidable against a tough Pittsburgh defense. Do come away with the loss, but looking very strong to start the season. However, a congratulations goes out to Simmons, earning this week's high score with a 142-97.8 victory over myself. He looked like it was actually going to be Jesse that was going to end up with the week's high score, but Josh Allen continued to pull miracles out in Buffalo in the fourth quarter to power him to the top score. So with that, let's take a look at our worst to first segment, brought to you by Goody.
Hi everyone. It really is a dream come true to be here in front of you today, accepting the championship of the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen with my championship trophy right here. You know, it seemed like just a few short weeks ago it was week 1, and I was coming in a nightmare scenario, last place after an absolute drubbing by Simmons and Val. But wow, I really turned the season around after that. Went 13-1 on the regular season and went undefeated to win the whole thing. Of course, after week 1, there were no issues with my roster whatsoever. It turned out to be all amazing picks, and who can forget that amazing week 2 waiver wire acquisition of Hingelman Dingleberry, who, as we all know, was the rushing champion this year. So I just want to say thank you for everyone who supported me this year and never gave up. And I'm not wearing any pants, but I've got a college final to take or else I'm going to flunk out. So I'll see you guys later.
Wow. Thanks, Goody. Well, that's delusions of grandeur, if I'd say the least, but hopefully by now you've at least got some pants on. This week, we also have another special segment in this video, which I'm going to go ahead and appropriately name Extraordinary Memories. And that's brought to us all because each and every one of you remind us that this league is more than just about football. It's about creating memories, helping keep the league fun and engaging, knowing that every year it gets more and more difficult to have the time and energy to be able to do all the things that we like to do. But hey, life's short. So with that, let's take a look. Dialing it all the way back to the FFFT in July with Goody, Matt, Tony, Nick, Val, and myself, we had an awesome time camping at Union Valley. Jacob recently celebrated a milestone birthday with a big 4-0. Happy belated birthday, Jacob. Tony's daughter, Sammy, recently started playing soccer and had her first game last weekend. Simmons, Jesse, Matthew, and I were able to play golf at Whitney Oaks the day after the draft, which was very hot, but also a great time. And finally, last but certainly not least, Jeff welcomed in his second son, Orem, on September 4th. So they now have a family of 4, and I'm pleased to report that both mama and baby are all home, happy, and healthy. Congratulations to you on your new addition. Hopefully you all enjoyed that little spotlight. It's fun to look back and see that we do have lives outside of fantasy football coming together as one. But without further ado, let's dive right into the matchups. Nick got off to a hot start with Bijan taking a pass 50 yards to the house and Baker slinging 3 touchdowns, while Tony didn't get the outcome from Joe Burrow he was hoping for. So Nick comes away with a 115.65 to 92.25 win. Jeff had Saquon set him up nicely on Thursday night, but Jacob wasn't about to roll over as Lamar kept him in the game and almost completed the comeback. However, in the end, Jeff gets the narrow 108.9 to 107.75 victory. Goody hopes to shrug off a rough week 1 start by getting low score of the week, while Val had solid production from her first and second round picks to power her to a 104.85 to 83.2 win. Jesse got a huge game from Derrick Henry on Sunday night to put him in a position for the top score, while Matt hung in there down the stretch, but in the end, Jesse gets the 134.05 to 110.9 victory. And in the battle of software smashers, Matthew was feeling good after Friday with Patrick Mahomes putting up 26 points, but then Dolan got 15 from Aaron Jones on Monday night to help him hit Control-Alt-Defeat as he gets the 103.1 to 100.7 win.
Hey guys, we finally made it through week 1. It was a pretty intense week, some pretty good games. Also this week, looking at my roster after Thursday, I was ready to throw in the towel for both of my leagues, thinking I was completely out of it. And kind of wild around the league between people getting spit on, people getting punched in the face, people separating their shoulder because they run into each other, fans getting involved with the players, throwing water bottles at Derrick Henry. It was pretty intense. But anyway, we all made it through. Now that I'm still back on top, it feels good to, as the league champion, continue my streak. But anyway, it's time for your Sitter Sub of the Week segment. The Sit of the Week goes to Jacob, where he went with Jerome Ford and his 6 carries for 8 yards over the clear #1 target in New Orleans wide receiver Chris Olave. Although it wasn't a massive outing, the 7.3 point difference would have been enough to get the win over Jeff. And the Sub of the Week goes to me, as I had to scramble 45 minutes before the Sunday night game to realize my kicker, Tyler Bass, was placed on IR. Fortunately for me, Tyler Loop stepped right up to give me 12 points and the win over Goody. But hey, now that Justin Tucker's out, I'll bring Tyler into the loop because I must just have a thing for those Ravens kickers. Well, this has been unofficially brought to you by Beachhead Deli Midtown, where Aloha is served daily.
Looking ahead to next week, Matthew hopes to get in the win column here with a heavy workload from CMC, while I'm praying the Lions don't look lost on offense without offensive coordinator Ben Johnson. Jeff is feeling good with a healthy baby boy, and a week 1 win goes up against Tony, who finds a bit of good fortune with Travis Etienne being the feature back in Jacksonville after they trade away Tank Bigsby. Nick has to turn to a new tight end this week as George Kittle finds himself on IR with a hamstring injury, while Goody looks to bounce back after waffling on quarterbacks and getting the weekly low score. Jacob looks for Jonathan Taylor to continue his strong start to the season, is taking on Matt, who hopes to ride Jalen Hurts all season. Val going up against Dolan in the battle of sophomore quarterbacks. Val hoping Jaden Daniels can be effective against the stout Packers defense, while Dolan eyes Bo Nix to help pick apart the Colts. And in the game of the week, it's Simmons taking on Jesse. These two teams finished last week as the #1 and 2 high scorers, so they hope that trend continues. Simmons has severe man love for Josh Allen and hopes to ride his trusty steed to a win, while Jesse might be doubting taking Purdy so high in the draft, as he is questionable in this one and might need to pivot to Jared Goff. So let's stay locked into this matchup. So as we turn the page on week 1 and look ahead to week 2, an exciting full slate of games. We've got the Commanders and the Packers on Thursday. The 49ers will be taking on the Saints with a lot of question marks for the 49ers, but fortunately the Saints are a very beatable team. So hopefully they're able to get a win there. Buffalo taking on the Jets team, which with new head coach and defensive mind, I think that they're actually in a much better spot to help set themselves up and compete in this one. And then, of course, on Monday, we've got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Houston Texans. That actually could be a very fun and entertaining game to close out the week. So hopefully you all have a wonderful week, and best of luck. Commissioner out.